Right about now. So welcome to another episode of Badass Banker or Badass Banking. I get that confused all the time. Today I'm with Todd Nagle. Rhymes with bagel is what he just said to me. He is the CEO and president of IncredibleBank. Todd, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for inviting me.
How are things up there? You're in Wisconsin, is that right?
We're in Wisconsin. Still nice weather here. We probably have another week and then it'll be snowing.
Yeah, it goes from like 90 degrees to 20 in the course of like 3 weeks, I think. I used to live in Chicago, so I do remember snowmobiling in Wisconsin. I think we snowmobiled in August up there.
Yeah, you know the whole deal then.
I do know the whole deal. Great cheese, by the way. Big dairy farming.
We take big pride in our cheese, man.
So how is the, I read about you guys all the time, right? I mean, small yet mighty. I mean, just doing some really good stuff. So how are you guys navigating the whole world of COVID right now?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Someone just asked me this the other day and I said, surprisingly very well. And that doesn't make a lot of sense when we're in the middle of a pandemic. But, after PPP, it seems kind of routine around here, except there's no one here. So I'm the only one in the office. I tried working from home and then like a turkey walks by or something and I've got to go get my hunting clothes on and shoot it. But I'm really the only one in the office. So the big difference is, we have a lot of people working remote. So I think we're getting more work done working remotely than we ever would be in our administrative offices. We had a record mortgage production month of like 215 units and the most we had completed prior to that was 150. And I think it's because people can work, processors can work on their own time at their house. They're not coming in here, working 12 hours a day in the bank. And so surprisingly well, we're all ready for it to change. We're pretty extroverted and I don't want, probably edgy, and we're very social. So for a guy like me, a social monster, this is just terrible. It's painful.
You got your started as you were started out as an entrepreneur. Is that right?
Yeah, I did. I was out of college. I actually got in the golf business and wasn't a very good golfer. That should have been my first clue. But then got into the banking business and then said, this banking stuff, I was working for a big bank, doesn't seem like a lot of fun. So I started a couple of small businesses and had 3 or 4 small businesses before I started escalating up the executive wing of the bank, and never had any intention of being a president or CEO of a bank. I just wanted to own my own businesses and kind of control my own destiny.
So maybe that entrepreneurism, that bug that bit you, was a good thing, and maybe that's led you to be an innovative leader, because that's my impression of you. You're really innovating there at the bank. You're doing some pretty exciting stuff. What makes IncredibleBank incredible?
Well, I think you're onto something. So first of all, I thought about that question, and we're owned by entrepreneurs. So we're actually owned by a family that were farmers. They're green bean farmers before they were bankers. And that's fun. So we're owned by, we're an S Corp owned by 2 brothers, $1.6 billion bank owned by 2 brothers. So they're like, run this business like it's your own, Todd. So of course, there I go. And so I'm inspired, no question, being an entrepreneur and be able to run their company for them. It's a lot of fun. They give me tremendous runway. Secondly is, I think we're a community bank doing digital. The whole digital and mobile banking has allowed us to compete with the bigs. And I love picking on big banks. I don't like messing with community banks. They're our brothers and sisters, but going after the big banks is a lot of fun. And then we have a trademarked customer service delivery model that we called ICE. It's called the Incredible Customer Experience. We've actually trademarked it, which is tough to do. And, we train all our people to deliver ICE every day. And we do things when pre-COVID, like open the doors for people and bring umbrellas to them when it's raining and fun stuff like that, and deliver groceries. So, I think it's fun to be able to deliver on a national level, but also act like a community bank at the same time.
Yeah, and when you say big banks, you mean the mega banks?
Mega banks, yeah.
Mega banks, yeah. I'm with you there. I hear people say big banks all the time, and a small credit union of 40 million in assets thinks that a mega bank to them is 5 billion.
Right.
And it's not. It's the mega banks. It's that top 15
right.
That I think that the community banks really have a chance of nipping at the bud at. Well, you guys are doing some really good stuff. Now, you got involved early in the PPP loan deal, right? You and I had some tweets back and forth. Jack Henry was looking to get a little more engagement from community banks on the PPP loan stuff, and you guys pounced on it, right?
Yeah, we had a lot of fun, thanks to people like you and others that, we were already a preferred SBA lender. And most people don't know another neat thing about IncredibleBank is we're a top 25 lender for SBA in the United States, which is fun.
That's actually incredible.
It is. It's kind of neat. It's a little secret. And we have a great relationship with Jack Henry and the Banno guys and people, not just guys over there. And Mark Forbes is on our board of directors, who used to be with Jack Henry. So it's kind of neat. And yeah, we stood up that PPP deal really quick and ended up getting out in front of it, and then helping out, Jack Henry with some smaller banks. So it was nice to be able to help out the smaller banks that weren't as set up as we were. And yeah, now we're working on forgiveness.
Yep. Yeah, that's the next chapter, right?
Yep. But I think, it's ready to go. We're starting to take applications now, and I think we'll have it wrapped up hopefully by November.
Yeah. So what are some of the concerns you have as far as long impact or some of the lasting impacts of COVID?
Yeah, what I'm worried about, Brian, is what's going to happen in November and December when stimulus kind of runs its course and maybe PPP funds have been spent as working capital and consumer stimulus dollars are gone, and SBA, we're a big SBA lender, so we had free, principal interest payments for 6 months. And when that runs out, I'm hoping, because I'm an optimist, that this is going to be the platform to launch us into a better economy. But I'm fearful that we'll find new problems and that new problems will arise that we're not aware of. But I hope not. But I don't think we're really going to know till, into November, perhaps December at the earliest. And so I'm worried about that. And then I'm worried about loan growth in the future. As a bank, you have to lend money. And so if we aren't rocketing to the next level in the economy, we won't have a lot of loan demand. And so a bank like ours and many other community banks, we're 70% reliant on interest income.
Yeah.
So if people aren't out borrowing and purchasing, we worry about that. I don't think the election has anything to do with it, but we'll see.
I'm hoping there's pent up demand, and hopefully the job market will stabilize. I mean, we still have, I think it's 12 or 13 million unemployed.
Right.
Hence what news you're listening to or paying attention to.
Yeah, no, I hope you're right. I mean, we can't find things like, tires for ATVs. And so hopefully people are ordering 3 when they only need 1. And by the time it just goes to a massive recovery.
Yeah. I mean, I know I've got like pent up demand. I'm a weekend warrior. I'm always at like a Home Depot and a Lowe's or something like that. I have not been in months, and I've got projects I want to do. I've got the time right now, and I'm doing things that were kind of like on a long list I had, but I need materials. I've got a second floor to finish in the garage, and so that's lumber and drywall and screws, and there's probably $10,000 worth of materials there alone. So for me, it'll happen. I need the confidence to know when I can pull the trigger. Right now, cash rules. You're trying to keep your savings high. They're saying that American savings rates are have escalated dramatically since this all happened. I don't know how much of that I believe, but I know in my own case, I put some extra cash aside. So since you're a community bank doing technology or doing digital, is there a fintech right now that excites you the most? And if so, who would that be?
It's interesting you asked that. I think I hate to just pick one because fintech in general gets me excited. Yeah. And what's unfortunate is, of course, this downturn has stalled a lot of investment into fintech. And we've always had the best partnerships, I think, with not only Jack Henry, but with others that are standing up really quickly. So I'm sure you're familiar with Tesla, which is a company that stood up really quick and really helped us with PPP. I mean, we didn't have, believe it or not, an LOS. Mm-hmm. We had no loan origination system. So Tesla was there and literally took our files on a Sunday night, and Monday morning we were submitting. So that was a lot of fun. So I'd say they're probably my favorite right now. And also working on some stuff perhaps on the SBA side. But, an SBA is a very cumbersome process. And, I think that's an area. Something I'd like to get developed that I'm hoping somebody can help us out with is we've got to figure out some heat maps for drive-throughs. So drive-throughs now the hottest commodity in banking. And so for someone like us that has a bunch of locations in town, if it could be like Google Maps and show you green, yellow, or red, think how cool that could be if you could show it on your mobile app.
Yeah. Or like when you're browsing Google Maps, it just shows up whether, what the status currently is, I think that's doable.
Who would ever think that drive-throughs
are
going to become the most important assets to banking? I had forgotten about them,
Yeah, who wouldn't? I forgot about them too. Same with ATMs. I still don't use ATMs very often, but all my banking over the last, which is not a lot because my wife does most of it, but everything's been through the drive-through.
Right.
I had to get something notarized through the drive-through.
Right.
And I called ahead. They told me what time to come when they're not going to be busy because that takes time. I don't want a bunch of people behind me honking. So I like the heat map idea. That's a good one. Yeah, I think. And the other thing, speaking of drive-through, what about drive-ins? Now the drive-in theater's back in, right? So there may be some long-term impacts here. At the end of the day, though, do you think community banking is going to be a high-tech, high-touch value proposition?
I do. I actually think COVID's is great. Not is going to be, is great for community banking. We've grown deposits like 25 or 30% year over year in some of our branches. And it's just because, as I talked about, the mega banks haven't been able to deliver a customer or just answer the phone.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be great for community banks. For the community banks that perhaps were a little behind, they had to get their technology running really quickly because you can't go into lobbies and open accounts.
Yeah.
And, we've helped some, I guess, brother and sister banks, if you will, out there with some of their technology. And I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. I think community banks coming out of this really strong.
I agree. In the spirit of collaboration is at an all-time high. I've been in this space since '85, and I have not seen the level of collaboration that we have today and cooperation. So what you guys are doing is great, and I thank you for that. Everything you're doing for small business is critically important right now. And I'm glad to hear. I didn't know you guys had roots in the farming industry. My cousin's a farm bureau president, or was, in the state of Maryland. So ag banking is a big deal.
Right.
A really big deal.
No question.
Listen, I appreciate your time today. I'm going to post all your info in the link below or above, somewhere like that. Is there anything else you want to add before we end this call?
No, I appreciate it. Let's just keep innovating out there.
That's the key. And let's get innovative. So if another banker wants to talk to you and needs some advice, you're completely open to it, right?
You can call me anytime. We're wide open. We're getting most of our ideas from other bankers.
Yeah, and other industries too, right?
No question. Absolutely. We love it.
I appreciate your time, Todd. For those of you watching, like, subscribe, dislike, comment. This is all about engagement. It's about collaboration, as Todd and I just talked about. Todd, thank you again.
Thank you.